If you're struggling to find yourself after a bad breakup or divorce, more specifically thinking that a piece of you is missing or that you're incomplete, fear not, brother. We're going to get you out of that mindset with a simple exercise. Welcome back, boys. Today we're going to hit the ground running with the concept as written in the title, talk about the benefits of today's exercise and how to execute it with precision and intent. Here we go. The woman in your life does not make you the man you are. And she does not complete you. Okay, so what do I mean by these two statements? Well, I think there's something that we get mixed up all the time as human beings, and that is the difference between the concept of who we are as an individual versus the relationship side of ourselves. So let's break that down. Starting with the concept of who you are, these are the things that define you solely as an individual, regardless of whether you're a dude or a chick in a relationship or not. I'm just going to fire some of them off here. These are things like your values, principles, goals, character, confidence, and of course, your journey of badassery. These are all qualities that we must build, refine, and grow on our own. More specifically, though, for us guys, you have your masculine qualities. You learn about these qualities from your dad, your grandfather, friends, teachers, even movie characters and musicians. When you're growing up, you take these qualities and make your own version of them because, well, you're a human being and you are unique. Your idea of masculinity is going to be slightly different from your dad's, it's going to be different from mine, etc. So that's who you are as an individual. Then we have the concept of the relationship side of you. Every single one of the qualities that make you the man you are all separate from the concept of a relationship, or I guess you can call it the relationship self. And these are the shared qualities that help a relationship stay healthy. Things like communication, understanding, emotional support. And obviously there's a big love connection and a team element as she indeed completes the intimate part of your life. But this is when you'll hear people say things like, oh, she completes me, or he's my better half, etc. But honestly, I don't really like those because they imply that your partner fills some sort of void in your life, and without them, half of you would just be empty space, which I think is bullshit. And you're going to understand this once you get through this episode. So with these two separate concepts in mind, let's dive in on why they're separate and how to reestablish yourself. First, we're going to start with the whole feeling like a piece of you is missing. So the research that I've done says that when a man is faced with divorce, his brain goes through all sorts of changes that are really similar to drug withdrawal, which include actual physical pain and major grief all at the same freaking time. As far as dopamine levels, they can plummet and stay there for up to a year and a half. It can also cause things like insomnia, suppression of appetite, suppression of immune system, and in some really bad cases can actually take 2 to 5 years off of your life. And don't even get me started on suicide rates. But anyway, this is the part of you that feels like something is missing. This is the physical, romantic connection part. Human beings are programmed for two super basic things: survive and reproduce. How do we make sure this happens? Our brains make sure this happens. Dopamine is released when we do things that help us survive. This is why good tasting food makes you also feel good. Exercise makes you feel good. Hell, even rest makes you feel good. Your brain releases dopamine and lots of other good chemicals when you do things that help you survive and stay healthy. And this is also why falling in love and making love feels amazing. And of course, the biggest dopamine rush of all, having kids. Because that's the pinnacle of reproducing, right? That's where life comes full circle and the human race continues on. And that's all dopamine and other brain chemicals. In terms of your romantic partner, being with them releases dopamine, but having them ripped away from you creates a steep dopamine plummet. Relationships are like drugs and breakups are like withdrawals, especially if you two were bonded for years or decades. And you may be without your drug, her, but I can promise you boys, none of what you're feeling right now means that you are any less of a man or any less yourself. I'm going to prove it to you. She does not give you the keys to your masculinity. You also do not need her permission to be trustworthy, strong, wise, ambitious, or any of your personal qualities. You don't have to wait for her to want you to be more successful, more manly, or courageous to initiate those things that are already inside of yourself. You embody these qualities whether you're in a relationship or not. If she leaves, she doesn't take your intelligence with her. She doesn't take your honesty and your character and your motivation or even your confidence. And yes, it may seem like she took some of those things from you, but that is not true. Things like your motivation and confidence probably did take a huge hit when the relationship ended, and that's totally understandable. But obviously, since you're listening to the BCP, you're working to rebuild that confidence and motivation. In other words, you don't have to wait for her to come back and give it back to you. The qualities that make you the man you are will always and forever be for you and only you. Therefore, the woman in your life has no say in regards to these qualities. She doesn't help you build them up, nor is it her job to do such a thing. And also, never, ever look to your woman to help you learn how to be a man. That's not her job. Anyway, what we're doing today is we're going to take stock of your personal and your masculine qualities. When you execute this exercise with intent, here are some of the benefits that you will experience. It's going to help you refocus on your intrinsic traits as your own man, which will in turn steer your mind away from the external loss of a divorce. You'll also be peeling back layers of confusion or self-doubt. You're going to start to realize that these temporary feelings that you're experiencing right now do not define who you are. Next, when feelings of loss and incompleteness come creeping back in, which, let's be honest, they will, glancing at this exercise will help you reframe your mindset quickly and give those bad feelings less power. You're also going to naturally start making decisions that will align with your traits and your goals and your mission instead of decisions that align with your feelings. In the long run, you'll find that your life in general is going to be more aligned with your true identity instead of a life aligned with depression, heartbreak, and feelings of worthlessness. So let's get started. We're going to take stock of your masculine qualities. I'm going to list a bunch of them out and give a brief description. All you have to do is decide which ones fit into who you are. There might also be some that you may want to start working towards. There might be even some that you've never even thought about. I mean, shit, I didn't even find out about some of these until I was 25. Anyway, we're going to get into them right now. The first masculine quality, here we go. Dominance. Being dominant means that taking the lead comes naturally to you. You are willing to make the decisions, especially if no one else is going to step up. You are also confident in your ability to handle any sort of conflict that arises with those decisions. No decision is ever perfect, but you make the plans and ultimately lead your partner, kids, friends, and team in a direction that you feel is right for everyone involved. Our next masculine quality, non-approval seeking. This is one of my favorites. You do not need the approval of others to think a certain way or to do something. You do not need permission to be yourself and speak your mind. You have no desire to, quote, fit in. You know you're a badass and you don't need people to tell you you are to believe it. But if someone compliments you, you know how to say thank you. And if someone has something shitty to say to you, you don't internalize it. In fact, bonus points if you find their feeble attempts to knock you down mildly amusing. Next masculine quality, internally validated. This ties into being non-approval seeking. You don't need gold stars or kudos at work or school to excel in your position. You already know that everything you do is for the betterment of not only yourself, but also everyone else involved. And you're going to hear this a lot at work. My boss doesn't say thank you or commend me for doing a great job. All I get is more work than I can handle. That is someone who is externally validated. They need others to pat them on the back to feel good and perform at a higher level. If you're internally validated though, and you do something nice for someone, you don't need a thank you to feel good about doing that good deed. Kind of like holding the door open for someone and they just kind of brush by you without saying thank you. You don't need them to say thanks. You know you did a good thing by being courteous. Being internally validated also ultimately means that you are proud of your strengths and aware of your weaknesses and have no shame in admitting to yourself that there are things you need to work on. Our next masculine quality, strong. This doesn't just mean being physically strong. It's entirely possible to be super masculine and never see the inside of a gym. There is also emotional, spiritual, mental, and psychologically strong. You are the one people look up to in times of hardship. When everyone else is freaking out, you are the calm one. You're happy to sacrifice for your loved ones, whether it's working overtime, starting a business, or even putting off sleep to make shit happen and provide a solid foundation for the ones around you. Being strong means that you take on levels of stress that most other people would crumble under, and you do so happily because being strong is not only your duty, it is the foundation of your confidence. All right, our next masculine quality, tough. Being tough also ties into being strong. Being tough means that no matter how many punches life throws at you, you stay standing and you keep fighting. And if you get knocked down, you get back up, no matter how long it takes, what's bleeding, or what's broken. You do not cower away in the face of fear. Instead, you embrace that fear and channel it into adrenaline and or focus. Overall, being tough means that giving up is never an option. Our next quality, the protector. This one's pretty self-explanatory. But being the protector means that not only are you willing to protect your loved ones at all costs physically, you are also the protector of their hearts and their minds. And that means you protect them from bad influences, dangerous situations, and you give them the reassurance they need when their heart has been hurt in some way. A really good example is if someone you know feels really guilty for doing something wrong to you. You can tell they feel genuine remorse for it, and you reassure them that, hey, it was just a mistake, you forgive them, and you give them a little confidence boost by reminding them how awesome they are. The protector in this way is also the healer. Next up, we have competitive. You thrive in competition. You want to win. You want to be champion. You are not afraid to face an opponent who is better than you. Non-competitive sports and activities bore you. You respect your opponents, understanding that, yes, it may be just a game, but still, you go to bed sore, exhausted, and extremely fulfilled if you win, or obsessively thinking how you can win next time if you lose. Overall, the competitive ones rise to the top of their career, their sport, and their own life. Truly competitive people know that their toughest opponent is themselves, and they always strive to be stronger, faster, and smarter than they were yesterday. Our next masculine quality, being emotionally stable. As we discussed in episode 1, everyone experiences emotions. Unless you're some cold-blooded psychopath, being emotionally stable means you understand how to process whatever it is you're feeling. You do not let your emotions dictate your behavior or your decisions. Again, no one is perfect. So if you slip on this and lose your temper sometimes or something, you cool down quickly and you figure out how to make the situation right. Being emotionally stable means that you have no need to try and numb your emotions with alcohol or other pleasure-seeking activities. And if someone else is coming unglued and screaming in your face, you remain non-reactive and handle the situation accordingly. You are the rock when times are dark and the ones around you need support. You're their shoulder to cry on, and your emotional stability helps them feel more grounded, which heals them a lot faster. Our next quality, bold. You are not afraid to put yourself out there if you are bold. You are also not afraid to speak truths that might offend some people. And no matter what, some people are going to hate you for it, but that's not your concern. Because even though you may have a small group of haters, everyone else who listens to you benefits in some way, shape, or form. You know what needs to be said or done, especially if no one else is really talking about or doing that thing. You are not afraid of any backlash that comes your way, and ultimately, people respect you for being raw and honest. All right, next up, we have the problem solver, another self-explanatory one. If there's an issue, the first thing you think is, okay, how can I solve this? It doesn't matter if it's a math problem on a test or something terrible happens and someone's life is on the line. Despite how the problem makes you feel, you're still able to activate the logical part of your brain and make the best decision possible without being influenced by emotions. You see the obstacles in your life as opportunities and tackle them, knowing that one way or another, you will find a way through them and onto a higher level. Next up, we have the risk taker. You are not afraid to take calculated and maybe some uncalculated risks in your life. I think we think of risk takers as people who skydive or do extreme sports, but what about the other less obvious ones? Stepping in to protect yourself or someone from a threat is a risk. Starting your own business from scratch is a huge risk. How about buying a house or even renting? Now you have a monthly payment that is solely dependent on your ability to create income. The risky part is banking on you not losing that job and thus no longer being able to make that payment. The risk taker understands that in order to be successful in anything, you must be willing to take on calculated risks that will yield a high reward. And last but certainly not least, you're a hero, not a victim. When something bad happens to you, the first thing you think is, okay, where did I go wrong and what can I change to avoid it in the future? Sometimes we go wrong by trusting the wrong person or situation, but what if we didn't know any better? What if we blew right past the warning signs because we didn't even know that they were warning signs? Well, the hero will take stock of what happened, with hindsight being 20/20, of course, and make moves to prevent that type of person or event from happening to them again. Victim mentality, on the other hand, says the opposite. They'll say shit like, it's this person's fault, they did this to me, why should I be the ones to do a bunch of extra work to fix it? Victim mentality stays in a perpetual state of weakness. They are slaves to their circumstances and their own decisions, and they have this false idea that the entire world needs to change to make them feel better about themselves. These are people who have zero accountability. They will blame everything else but themselves for mistakes that are even 100% their fault. What's even worse is that other people will try to insert victim mentality into your life. A classic example is someone who cheated on their significant other. Some of their friends may say, dang, that was a pretty big mistake. You probably shouldn't do that again. But other people may rationalize and say, oh, but you were bored anyway in your relationship and your partner really didn't give you the satisfaction you deserve. So don't feel bad about it. Yeah, yuck. Heroes are never victims. Yes, even if someone does something terrible to them, the hero knows it's their responsibility to fix it. Not to fix the other person, but to heal themselves. Because how are they supposed to heal and move on? How are they supposed to learn from a mistake that they had no idea was a mistake until it happened and it bit them in the ass? By constantly blaming the other person as their excuse to not take action to fix it? Yeah, no. The hero always takes accountability and learns from their mistakes and the bad things that happen to them. The hero understands that no one owes him anything and no one is coming to save him. He is the one who must change things within himself in order to build the life he wants. And that basically wraps up a good chunk of masculine qualities. So, which ones did you identify with? Which ones do you think need improvement? And just because you don't identify with one or more of these doesn't make you any less of a man. Just because you gave into fear at one point, it doesn't mean that you're weak. But notice how all of these are possible with or without a woman in your life. And yes, I know there are some of you thinking right now how you slipped up on one or more of these qualities when you were in your last relationship. Do not be ashamed. Many, many guys slip up in various ways. I did numerous freaking times. We get comfortable in the relationship and start getting lazy. It happens. But at least you know how to handle yourself differently in your next one, right? More about that subject in a later episode. Bringing it back a bit, getting your identity back is crucial in this time that you're in. The purpose of this taking stock of your masculine qualities and your personal qualities is to separate the part of you that feels like something is missing from the complete man that is still intact. And that is who you are at your core. And that is 100%. So the next time you think, oh, I lost my better half, I'm not complete, or there's a void inside of me, I want you to remember there is no fucking void. A romantic partner adds to your life. It's 1 + 1 = 2, not half plus half equals 1. And yes, what they add is freaking amazing and hits all your feel-good buttons. And when she leaves, yes, it is a huge hit and a huge loss. But even then, you are still one. Even when you were with her, You have always been one. You are whole. You are complete. Guys, you may be heartbroken, you may be in physical pain, you may be lost, but always remember, no matter who is in your life, you will always have you. You will always have the choice on who to be, and no one can ever take that away from you. Just because she is gone doesn't mean you can't do great things and become more badass. It doesn't mean you won't ever be able to move on. And it certainly doesn't mean you are any less of a man. Embrace your qualities. Yes, especially if you feel like garbage, because your qualities are always there and they don't give a shit how you're feeling. Your feelings in this hole that you're in right now, it's temporary. The qualities that make you a badass motherfucker are permanent. They do not die. Even when you physically move on from this life, the ones you inspire, like the people around you and your kids especially, will carry on that torch for you, and they will embrace those same qualities. Now for the exercise. Take stock of your personal and masculine qualities, whether you fully embody them already or want to work on them. Write them down or type them out and print it. I've created a PDF of this exercise. If you want to download it, all the instructions are in the episode description. So however you choose to do it, create your own definition of what each of those means to you. You're welcome to use the qualities and descriptions you heard above, but I encourage you to look more up on your own. Remember, the ones I described are only a handful of masculine qualities. There are way more out there. When you're doing this, boys, be honest with yourself. Remember that your personal qualities are things like honesty, good communication, hard worker. Masculine qualities are strength, internally validated, bold, and the hero, etc. When you have them written down and defined, circle or highlight the ones you think have room to grow. You don't need to come up with an action plan to improve them right away if you don't want to, but I do want you to at least pin them up somewhere. You will see it every single day. I sort of did this when I was going through a really bad breakup in my mid-20s. I heard about this idea of taking stock of masculine qualities, and so I was like, whatever, I'll try it. And I just half-assed a short list before I just threw up my hands, and I thought, I'm too depressed for this. This is stupid. This isn't helping. So I crumpled it up and I threw away. But somehow I kept thinking of that list. The words stuck with me. And then I started thinking about them in the heat of the moment. If I was at work and thinking about cutting out early just because I was being fucking lazy, I remembered how I wrote strong and I finished my shift anyway. If I was feeling timid or getting approach anxiety when I saw a cute girl at a party, I remembered writing down bold and then approached anyway. When I was feeling unsure of myself, I remembered confident. Each time I decided to embrace a quality instead of wuss out, I never regretted it. And each decision like that was just another building block of the life that I truly wanted all along. And the same thing will happen to you guys too. You just have to apply this exercise with diligence and consistency. Quick recap, the masculine qualities from above are dominant, non-approval seeking, internally validated, strong, tough, the protector, competitive, emotionally stable, bold, the problem solver, the risk taker, and the hero. Now is the time to start cutting the connections in your brain to her and to memories of her. This is a new chapter, boys, and you have the freedom to make it anything that you want it to be. One day, one grueling step at a time. I promise you, your future looks way brighter than you can ever imagine. All right, I'm going to leave you guys with this quote from the Greek philosopher Epictetus. Quote, "The true man is revealed in difficult times." See you guys next week. Thank you for joining me in another badass episode, brother. If you want to accelerate into this new chapter in your life and get a boost into your badass journey, sign up for a free 45-minute consultation for post-breakup or divorce coaching. All the info is in the episode description. Also, please remember to like and comment. And if you know anyone who could use this info in their badass journey, please share this episode with them. None of this will be possible without you guys. So thank you again, and I will see you in the next episode.